Snow fell silently over the little town of Ash Hollow, the kind of snow that muffled sound and made the air sting with bitterness. The main street lay half buried beneath a crust of frozen mud, and from the saloon to the sheriff's office, every set of boots had stopped moving. Men lined the wooden porches, dusters pulled tight around them, their faces carved from stone. No one spoke. They were waiting. At the center of it all, tied to the whipping post near the well, stood a girl who had no business looking as fierce as she did. Her hair hung in tangled waves, damp from snow and sweat, her face smeared with dirt, her lips split. The dress she wore was torn at the hem, one sleeve shredded, and on her thigh the dark stain of blood had dried into a cruel reminder of what she had endured. She was barefoot, toes raw against the icy ground, but her chin still lifted with defiance, even as her shoulders shook. "Don't look at me," she whispered, her voice cracked and trembling, barely carrying past the rope that bound her. "Don't you dare look at me." But he did. Caleb Mercer, rancher, gunslinger when forced, and a man who had once sworn he'd never bend knee to anyone again, stepped through the circle of townsfolk. His hat brim dripped with melting snow, his coat flared in the cold wind, and his boots struck the ground with the measured cadence of a man who knew death was circling but refused to blink, his dark eyes fixed on her as though nothing else in the world existed. The crowd parted only enough to let him through. The sheriff, a barrel-chested brute with a beard that looked carved from iron, spat into the dirt and gave a thin grin. "Mercer," he drawled, "this ain't your business. Step aside." But Caleb didn't stop. He walked right up to the post, right up to her, and when he finally stood before her, he reached out and framed her face in his rough, calloused hands. His touch was gentle, almost reverent, as though afraid she might shatter. She flinched, wanting to turn away, but his gaze held her. He dropped to one knee before her, the snow soaking into his trousers, his voice low and unshaken. "I'll never let them take you from me." The words seemed to hang in the frozen air, defying the silence that had bound the crowd. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down her lashes, because she wanted to believe him and feared she couldn't. The sheriff's boots thudded closer. "Mercer, get up. Don't make a fool of yourself. That girl's been judged." Caleb rose, his hand never leaving her cheek. By who? By you, a pack of cowards standing in the snow, calling it justice." His voice grew sharper, cutting through the winter air. "You think tying up a wounded girl makes you men?" A murmur rolled through the crowd. Some shifted uneasily. Some spat in agreement with the sheriff, but no one moved forward. The girl's lips quivered. "Caleb, please." "You don't know what they'll do." He leaned closer, his forehead brushing hers for the briefest moment. "They'll have to go through me first." And in that instant, the spell broke. The sheriff's hand went to his revolver. "So be it." The street erupted, boots scraped, hands twitched to holsters, and the snow became a stage for violence. Caleb's eyes darted across the circle of men, calculating, measuring. He wasn't just a rancher now. He was a man with something to protect. He eased his coat back, revealing the iron at his hip. Anyone who wants her life will have to earn it in lead. The girl gasped, straining against her ropes. No, Caleb, don't. Please, they'll kill you. But the fire in his eyes said otherwise. For years, Caleb had drifted from town to town, never planting roots, never letting himself care. He carried scars, both seen and hidden, the kind a man only spoke about to the whiskey bottle. But something about her, this girl who now stood trembling against the post, had cracked through his iron armor. He had found her broken, bloodied, barefoot in the snow, on the edge of his land weeks ago, and against every instinct he had taken her in, tended her wounds, and listened when she whispered the horrors she had fled. He had known this day might come, that the men who had once owned her, who had carved pain into her skin and called it order, would come riding with fire and rope. Now they stood here, demanding her life. Caleb's hand hovered near his Colt, his voice steady. Let her go. The sheriff's lips curled. She's nothing but trouble. A thief, a liar, a murderer. She's alive, Caleb said. And that's more than she'd be if she stayed under your rule. The girl shook her head desperately, tears cutting clean streaks down her dirty cheeks. Don't fight for me. Please, Caleb. Don't look at me like I'm worth it. He glanced at her, a storm raging in his gaze. You are worth it, and I'll prove it if I have to put every one of these bastards in the ground. The sheriff drew his pistol first.